My question is, I know that a lot of the solution really relies on supporting the legislation, and I think we can only hope that our elected Democrats would do their job to keep fighting for trans rights, LGBTQ rights. Do you have any thoughts on that in terms of how we can sort of address and push for more solution from a legislation perspective, but also how can ordinary people help and support the community?
Yeah. To be honest, I think a lot of us just feel disenfranchised from the political sphere altogether.
Mhm.
Um, and so it almost doesn't even feel like I feel like Democrats are gonna save me, right? I don't even think of it that way either.
Mhm.
I feel so disenfranchised as a whole, like Biden could have put protections in for these things where they couldn't have just been overturned, right? And that goes all the way down to like Roe versus, this goes all the way down to women's reproductive rights.
Mhm.
And so in some ways, it's like, oh, I might be jaded. I might just be like, I feel so disenfranchised as a whole that it doesn't even feel like there's space for me to exist anywhere right now within that political sphere. Um, and so I think personally, like, and maybe there are other trans people that are in politics and that do fight on the legislation part and that could be their fight and that's what they do. That's personally not what I'm
Mhm.
specialized in. I don't know where
Mhm.
that's going to lead to. I know there are more political lawyers. I know there's like really amazing trans lawyers that are speaking out. Um, and so I think that is kind of like, for me, that's not where my work is or what my specialty
Mhm.
is. And I can't advise people on where to go there.
Mhm.
But I think that that doesn't mean that I don't have a part to play, right? And so for me, where I fit in is I think more within the communities that are around here, the
Mhm.
local LGBTQ communities, right? The people that are I live in LA, I'm local here. This is where I grew up. I was born and raised. And so it almost feels like my work, I'm kind of entering like my tita era,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
I'm kind of feeling like, well, maybe it's time for me to like pour into the youth, right? And like kind of what I was saying earlier, where I'm feeling for them, then that also means that this is where my work should move towards, right? And maybe this is what I should be doing with my experience and with whatever life I've gone through, being
Mhm.
able to support them. And so that's kind of where I'm starting to shift a little bit of as this whole landscape is changing quickly. This is kind of where I'm trying to find, okay, well, where do I fit in with how everything is shifting and where
Mhm.
does my work, because it doesn't feel like it's accessible anymore in the institutions because they're clearly taking them out. The DEI that is removing all the like resources that used to support like people like us, right? And
Mhm.
so it's almost like, okay, like it's if that's really just how it's gonna be with this new administration, then it's like that's 4 years. I can't just wait until the next, you
Yeah.
know, comes in to just like, okay, now they're gonna like make it better. Like I've got to figure something out like now, you know?
Mhm.